A data analytics company performed a nationwide poll of 2011's randomly selected 13 to 17-year-olds. Of these 2011 teenagers, 309 of them had vaped in the past 12 months. Give a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of all people in this age group who vaped in this time frame. Okay. All right, so to do this, you need to recall the formula for population proportion. So if your sample proportion, well, I guess sample proportion in our case is 309 out of 2011 had vaped. And what is that? 309 divided by 2011. And 0.1536. Let's go, yeah, it's, if you round it, it's 0.1537. So this will be 0.1537. And then the formula for the population proportion, the actual proportion, we don't know the actual proportion, but we can give an estimate of what it would be to be in an interval. So the sample proportion minus E is the lowest value that the population proportion P could have, and sample proportion P hat plus E is the maximum. So this is the confidence interval where this E is given as Z alpha over 2 times square root of P hat Q hat over N, and here Q hat is 1 minus P hat. Now in our case it's let's see, 63. Okay, and then Z alpha over 2 would be the inverse norm of 1 minus alpha over 2, but that's inverse norm of 1 minus alpha is, in our case, 95 confidence level is 0.05 alpha value, because 1 minus 0.95 is 0.05, and you divide this by 2. And if I use a calculator to put that in, second vars, go to inverse norm, and I do, let's clear this, 1 minus it's 0.5, and then you have to divide that by 2, and then enter, and you get 1.96, right? So you get 1.96 if you round it to the nearest hundredths. And then once you have this, then you can compute this because we have all the values. So in our case, E is Z alpha over 2 is 1.96 square root of 0.1537 times 0.8463, and then you still have to divide it by how many teenagers? 2011 teenagers. Okay, so let's try to compute this with a calculator. There's 1.96 times square root of 0.1537 times 0.8463, and then divide it by 2011, and that gives you 0.01576. Okay, and I guess since it's the nearest 10,000ths, let's just round this to be 158. Okay, so that's the nearest, and then we can do P hat minus E as 0.1537 minus 0.0158. So let's see what we get. 0.1537 minus 0.0158, and that's 1.1379. Okay, on the other hand, p hat plus e, we know that it's 0.1537 plus 0.0158, and it's 0.1695. Okay, so from these two, we know that the population proportion is between 0.1379 and 0.1695. Now, if you actually had this on a 9 o'clock news, the way that they're going to say this would be something like this. It'll say 15 point, usually they wouldn't do 3.7, they would say like 15.4% of the population, teenage population, is vaping, and the error is somewhat between plus 1.58 percentage points of error with 95 confidence level. Okay, so they're going to talk about the error of this quantity. So it could be like 1.58% more or less, and you can say this with 95% confidence level. Okay, but this is the confidence level answer, so that's the answer.